Hey everyone, welcome to Parlay Parlor,
the place where we talk about what's happening in your world
and how we can work together to make it better.
This space is for the people,
all of us.
And with your constructive feedback, we're building a platform that doesn't just talk about problems,
but actually digs for real solutions. Solutions that benefit everyone,
and not just a handful of billionaires and their soulless corporations.
So yeah, we want to build something great together.
Let's get into it.
Man, we talked about this years ago, and it's so funny that, when you get a job and they're like, it comes with benefits, and it includes vision and dental and health insurance, and those are all separated. Your health is separated from your eyes, which is separated from your teeth. I'm like, last time I checked, my eyes and my teeth were inside my body, ergo,
yeah,
all part of my health.
Right. It's crazy.
Teeth are a direct relation to the healthiness of one's body, and dentists know that, and I don't know if they're forced to not push that narrative or truth that it is. I mean, when look at it from owning a dog, your dog's teeth as they go on, like most people don't sit there and brush their dog's teeth once a day or once a week. And then, years later, like, his teeth are really rotten out and I don't know what's happening. And he's getting sick. I'm like, well, he's got rotten teeth in his damn mouth. You haven't brushed him.
And to your point though, you don't bring them to a doggy dentist.
Right.
Bring it to a vet.
Right. Yeah. A vet does, a vet for an animal, a dog does the health of the dog, the eyes and the teeth. It's all in one. It's all encompassing because it's all part of that single entity, that body. Humans have eyes and teeth, and it's all within their own body. It's part of their health. It doesn't. I don't know when it was separated. At what point that the industries that be decided that your eyes and your teeth are no longer a part of the totality of taking care of your health. Which, whoever made that decision, that's clearly just meant for profiting, separating it and creating that entire divide of those things. And so people go without checking their teeth. People go without checking their eyes. And it's absolutely maddening to think that we have to pay for them separately. Everything is just made and separated to create an additional revenue stream. That's what it is. It's just a revenue stream. Your eyes and your teeth are a revenue stream for anyone that works outside of the health industry. And I don't get that. I'm completely perplexed by it.
I mean, it comes around. I actually hate sounding like a one-track record all the time, being like, well, that's because of capitalism. Well, that's because of capitalism. But I mean, it is though.
That's funny because it's because of capitalism.
I mean, we live in a system, we operate under a system that absolutely commodifies everything. And it's not like, it's getting that way. It started out commodifying literally everything. And then over time, slowly, we were like, well, maybe humans shouldn't be commodities. And then so, I guess at some point along the way, they're like, okay, well, humans won't be commodities, but all your fucking body parts will be.
Yep. I mean, harvesting for eyes and teeth. And what do you do on the regular for any sort of self-care, managed self-care? I know you said you went to the gym with your son earlier. Was that this week?
Yeah, a couple days ago.
And you did some workouts, and now your triceps are bugging you. You're having trouble lifting your arm to eat. Oh, this fork is so heavy.
Yeah, everything. This glass of water it's not as bad today, but definitely on my triceps, there's some
fatigue. Yeah. Hey, remember me? I'm back here. It's something I was talking about with my wife the other day, and you and I have talked about before. Just your body moving allows for oxygen to get into other parts, and it's transported by your blood, and the movement helps your system, helps circulate, helps everything that you can imagine, circulatory system, your pulmonary system, everything, your blood flow, ins and outs, and it allows you to get into a better space, get into a better headspace. It's so super important to have movement. And I know there are a lot of people that are limited in their movement for one reason or another, but movement is just, it's part of life. Like, you are a human being, you are meant to move. You're not meant to stay sedentary and just sit in front of a computer all day. And we are just continually trapped in that, tucked into a screen, whether it's a TV, a tablet, a phone, computer. I mean, I ran about it enough that,
For anybody dropping in that's listening right now, it's pretty clear at this point, I would think. But today we're keeping it a little bit more casual. We are. I know Quinn and I both, in line with mental health and taking care of yourself. Uh, we pay attention to what's going on in the world. We dive deep into all of the ugliness and the horrific things and the bad news everywhere. And both of us always take from time to time to just pull out of it. You always want to stay on top of things, but at the same time, it's so important for your mental health to just take a step back from time to time and just focus on literally anything else.
yeah.
uh,
The,
so in line with that, we want to kind of structure the podcast in a way that we can talk about those serious issues the majority of the time, but then every once in a while we just want to step back and just have a much more casual conversation and
mhm.
let our brains heal.
Yeah, and what Jared's saying, disconnect and focus on something or not focus on something, like, have the moments where you can breathe. It is super important to take care of yourself, your mind and your body. We can at one point get into potentially that third layer of spirituality, and what that means to you, what it means to me, what it means to anybody. It's taken me, 46 years to truly understand myself in the realm of being spiritual and what that means, what that looks like, how is that important? How is that meaningful? And how do we use it to create connection? It's really, really, it's difficult because I believe of all of those things, I believe mental health, mental wellness is meant to be shared. That's my thoughts on it. You should talk about it with people. You should be open with people as much as you can with physical fitness. You do it out in the world. So group workouts are really fun. Doing them by yourself are fun too. Spirituality. I am recovering from a lifetime of trauma as it relates directly to being spiritual. And I am working hard on understanding how that last piece in the trifecta of oneself, the mind, the body, and the proverbial soul, all they all commingle, and having them in line for yourself and yourself only. That's the path to happiness. That's the path to being healthy. What I do, what I practice doesn't need to be for everybody. It isn't for everybody. It's barely for me sometimes. I'm still figuring out when I do something like, oh, that sucks. I don't want to read up on that again, or I don't want to practice that. I want to be really, really set in my ways. And set in what my ways means, like Bruce Lee said, be like water. I want to be able to have my spiritual self be malleable and flow into the spots that it needs to, heal what it needs to, and move on. I don't need to be stuck. I don't need to be, holding anyone accountable to my beliefs or anything. But I do think that taking care of yourself, I really, really do. And it's making a huge difference in myself. It's making a huge difference in my mental outlook on things. Having some sort of spirituality, and it doesn't have to be a higher power per se. It's how you perceive yourself in the world and how you perceive the world around you and what that looks like. You want to take care of someone, take care of someone. You want to be left alone, be left alone. Just be kind. It doesn't cost a damn thing to be kind. Nice does not have to have a price.
Yeah, and most religions, when you strip away all of the dogma, that's the same message. It's just like be kind to one another, take care of one another.
Hmm.
You know, we can get really deep into some of I don't know what all of your personal beliefs are. I happen to believe that there is very little separation between myself and the world that isn't just an illusion created by my mind. I believe in a, I guess you would call it a higher power, but I believe that all that is that, and we're all part of it.
I think we're all connected. I really do. And I mean, if you look at the similarities in the branches and root systems of trees, and you look at the branches and root systems of the circulatory system and the pulmonary system, they match pretty damn closely.
Mhm.
Like, you know, the trees produce oxygen. We just happen to need oxygen. How is there not a direct correlation to that? I mean, we're connected. Our food, the good food comes from the ground. Grow it in the ground, you eat it, and then you recycle it. And I mean, it makes sense to take care of yourself and the earth for ourselves later down. Be kind to your future self. You know, be kind to your future selves, the people around you, the ones that you want around.
Yeah. Be kind to your current self. Be kind to,
Yeah. Yeah.
be kind. This one is one that I struggle with. I do. I try, but you be kind to even your worst enemy, because even your worst enemy is you. You are that.
Showing kindness to those you oppose is another level of strength that I don't know a lot of people that have, myself included. I tried deeply, and I have entangled many a foe in my lifetime in one way or another. Breaking free of those setups. It's because it's a setup for yourself. Being mad at someone, being angry with them, being angry with yourself because you're friends with them, or you let a situation occur, or this person's in your life, and if you didn't let them in your life, you wouldn't be in the, you know, X spot. We go to that cliche, does everything happen for a reason? You know, there's definitely truth to that. You
Mhm.
know, if we're staying on the path of we're all connected, then yeah, everything happens for a damn reason.
Even if you don't believe that, and I tend to believe that everything does happen for some reason or another. But even if you don't, everything that happens, that whatever it is, that thing, it's happened, right? It there it is. You can do something with it, or you can do nothing with it. And so I think it's when you do something with it, then in retrospect, it's like, oh, well, that happened for a reason. Or when you tell yourself that it had to have happened for a reason, that's like your cue to do something with it, even if it's just to learn a lesson, something as simple as that, just to like really learn and integrate a lesson.
How
But maybe
how
it's bigger than that.
how often do you go back on situations that occurred that were really bad, that were in really
Like
un-
retrospective,
yeah, and then replay the tape
pretty often.
of what happened and put a positive spin on it. Change the outcome in your mind.
Well, I'd say there's a few that I would have a really hard time doing that, but I do pretty often. There's lots of times where I've gone back over times in my life and seen it differently multiple times, like throughout my life. Like at different stages of my life, I'll see the same memory in different ways and from different perspectives and experience levels. Sometimes something I would have beat myself up for many years ago, I have a much deeper understanding now and like, you know, I guess sympathy for myself, for my previous self.
Mhm.
Um,
Are you sympathetic to how you used to behave?
yeah, I think if I knew then what I know now, talk about cliches.
Hmm.
mm, I think there's a lot of things I would have done differently, things I would have done certainly sooner. But for the most part, there's a few things. I mean, there was parts of me that were I was kind of an asshole at times. I don't know. I struggle with that, man, to be honest with you. to like, if I could look back and say, could I make the perfect version of myself based on what I think the perfect version of myself is today? Yeah, there's things I would change, but I also always have had the very strong belief that every stage of my life, every part of who I've been has led up to who I am now. And I wouldn't be who I am now had I been different then. Now, would I be better than I am now? Possibly. Um, but I have no way of knowing that. But I guess the important thing is I like who I am now. I can say that very confident. I don't love where I am, in my life and everything. There's definitely things I would change about that, but I really, really love who I am. I really appreciate and am pretty proud of, I guess, is a good way to put it, of who I've become over all this time.
I mean, like, we said before, I've known you for 14 years, right? Uh, and I've I've seen our relationship grow, yours and mine, our friendship, how we've interacted with each other, how we've addressed situations together apart, and things that you've been managing in your life, things I've been managing in my life, and every now and again, I mean, prior to the podcast starting, I think in the last probably 3.5 years, maybe 4 years, I think the longest we ever had from connecting with each other was probably a couple of weeks, maybe three at most. We've been in constant contact with each other for years at this point. I mean, we've known each other for 14, but the amount of contact we've had has been like, I talk to you almost as much as I talk to my wife, which is saying something. And the things that I've seen you go through, and I'll use the word struggle with, and come through on the other end, like on top, like where you are now. It's huge. I mean, growth is important. You have to have it. You go nowhere if you don't grow. Uh, and the continued analogy of that to a tree, you're you're branching out, you're expanding your foundation, you're solid in your trunk. I mean, you're a little squishy in your trunk, but we'll get through that. And you
Gotta
know,
go in the gym, man.
more than the triceps. So seeing where you've gone and come from is insane, to me. Um,
Appreciate that, man.
it's great to see and be a part of and know. And you've called me and messaged me at times like, "Hey, I'm going through some stuff. I need to talk about it. I need to figure it out. I need to get it off my chest." We have great, text conversations, great phone calls. I mean, you drove up from Tennessee to where I was in Philadelphia, this past November, to help me out, um, when I was out there taking care of my mother's stuff. Not that you wouldn't have done that 10 years ago, 14 years ago, but the commitment to it now, it's rooted in maturity. Like, there's a matureness in there. And we've both experienced that. I've seen it firsthand in you. And I wouldn't change much of who you are or the experiences that you've had, because they help define you, and you allow them to define you in a way that moves you forward, that propels you, not hold you back. And we've had those conversations where you're like, "I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I feel shitty. This is happening.
Oh,
I've
God.
got this job. I fucking da da da, this, that, and the other thing. The wife, the kids, the house, the dogs, the
A
in-laws,
lot of
the
that, yeah,
parents."
a lot of that comes down to, it's my brain, man. I have this freaking ADD brain,
Mhm.
that just constantly craves novelty. And like, I didn't know that for most of my life. So now
Mhm.
that I know that as an adult, it's like, oh shit, okay, I need to find ways to have novelty for myself that that feed back onto me doing what I need to be doing,
Mhm.
if that makes sense. Instead of always just like doing something until it loses its luster and it loses its ability to feed me dopamine. Um
Those
then
hits, those likes, those comments.
yeah, yeah. Like, comment, share, feed me
You
feel.
don't.
But I mean, there definitely is something to it with the way that the ADHD brain works. That's why I had to get off of social media for so long. Like, every comment I
Yeah,
had
that's
to
the
like respond
unplugging.
to, and I got into massive like online. I wouldn't even call them fights; they were battles. Like, I'm
Hmm.
sure you've seen some of them over the
Yeah,
years.
yeah, no, no. You'd send them to
They
me.
would
You're
go
like,
on
here,
for like
this out.
you'd
See what I
you'd
said.
just scroll and scroll and
Yeah,
scroll, and it would just be like me and like 3 other people going back and forth.
yeah. But
Yeah,
that,
I
I
had to
mean,
definitely it was very negatively
that's
impacting
that.
me. It was impacting my family because in order to argue with someone online for that amount of time, you're constantly checking, checking, messaging, checking, messaging. Uh, and yeah, my wife was saying something constantly, but even my kids started to say, like, you're always on your phone. You're always on Facebook. You're always like, we get that the argument is an important argument, but also you've been doing it for 7 hours. And it's like, okay, well, fair point. I need to. So, yeah, anyway, that's why I ultimately just like, for the longest time, I just got rid of all my social media. I just got off of it. I just ghosted everybody
Yeah,
on social media anyway, not entirely. Like, obviously, I still
I
talk
get it.
on the
I
phone
mean,
and message people.
I posted the same thing every day for 12 years, and then one day stopped. Just stopped. It was a hard Band-Aid ripoff. Just like it was, silly and innocuous for most, but that that was a dopamine hit, and I was doing it every day, like
Not
without.
Valentine's Day anymore.
No, it's not. And I utilize that for myself as a means to. I was choosing to help it motivate me. I mean, I committed to it because I wanted something to commit to because
That makes sense.
I wasn't willing to commit to myself. I wasn't willing to work on myself much. And although I was saying I did and I wanted to, I mean, I was here and there, uh, but I wasn't ready to like fully jump in and look at me and say like you need better work, you need better help, you need, and no one's gonna give it to you unless you seek it. You need to go get it.
Mhm.
And I did. And I look back on that. I think that was 3 years ago when I stopped doing that. And I think about it and I check it every now and again. And, on Facebook, every day it's a memory. And it's, 3 years ago, all the way up to however 15 years ago. Did it every single day, and it was silly and people thought it was funny and people thought it was stupid and it got annoying and people got happy and then people would say, I look forward to this every single day. And so, you try to take those things that, I guess with a grain of salt and say, well, it's making people happy. So I can continue doing it and treat it almost like a job, which it wasn't. It wasn't a job. It was a distraction. And, I,
Oh,
I recognize
yes and
that.
no, because it was
Yeah,
also commitment,
it
and, like,
was. Yeah.
that's the thing
But
that
you can distract yourself with commitments.
well, you absolutely can. Yeah. You can overcommit yourself.
Yeah.
But, but but just having that thing to have something to be committed to, like you said, because what I've noticed over the years is that when I work if I'm just working on myself, for instance, the work that I do, even though it's for the sake of working on me and my own personal life, it carries through usually to my work life and my family life and my whatever and it goes all the way, like, all directions. Like, when I'm at work, if I work a job where I'm cleaning all the time, rather than come home and not want to clean, I actually am more likely to clean.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think, and that's like a real hard physical example, but just
Mhm.
in general, I think when you work on improving yourself in any type of way, in any situation in your life, that work ripples through
Yes,
other
absolutely.
aspects of your life as well, and you'll start to notice improvements there as
Mhm.
well.
And I mean, it's what I keep saying, like, work on yourself take care of yourself. I will wholeheartedly admit that I thought that was bullshit for the longest time.
A lot of people do.
Absolutely. I would say, as a husband, as a father, as a friend, that I don't need to take care of myself because I'm taking care of other people. That is one of the biggest misnomers ever. I don't even know what it's fucking founded in. I have to look that up. But it's taking care of other people is a distraction. Is that commitment. And it could be a good thing. You could take care of people,
Yeah,
and
not
that's
to say
good.
that
But
it's
if you're not,
negative,
yeah, but you're
but it is a distraction from, it's a distraction that you're willing to take on. But
sure.
that's, I guess that's part of what a commitment is.
But what are you pushing off your plate if you're adding so many more people to it?
Yeah.
It's
But I
probably
mean,
yourself. It's probably, if you're not the center of your own universe, how is anyone else going to know to float around you?
I don't know. That's one I struggle with too, because
But you don't have to be
yeah, no,
egotistical about it.
I
You can
get what
be
you're saying.
clean. You can be rooted in I want to take care of myself because I know that me being in a happy and healthy mindset and environment will allow me to take care of so many other people that I absolutely enjoy more than almost anything else is helping people. It's a weird thing to say. Is that what do the kids say? It's not a flex. Maybe it is. I've always enjoyed that. And
I'd say it was.
the problem is people
If you're a Buddhist, that's absolutely a flex.
people don't believe it that because it's so not just they don't believe it
But
from me, they
because
don't believe it
everybody
from
thinks you're
others.
in it for yourself.
Yeah, everyone thinks everyone
We
else is in
talked
it for
about this
themselves.
we talked about this in my ethics class. Like, they were like, "Can you really do anything that you're not in it for yourself?" And like, I would give examples, and they'd be like, "Yeah, but you benefit in X, Y, and Z way." And it's like, just because I benefit from something doesn't mean necessarily that that's why I did it. And that, in some, I don't know, I guess
If you're mindful
you
enough,
have
you'll
to,
know that you
some
benefit
people
from it.
do things just to do them, and some
Mhm.
people do things to get benefit from them. And most people do a healthy mix of both. Like,
Yeah.
you should be doing some things to get benefit from it, but not all things, and especially not things like helping people, like helping, especially, your friends, your family. How many times, this is, I'm sure this is an example lots of people can relate to, but how many times have you called up for me to help you move, or call around for people to help move? And as long as I can, 100% of the time, I'm gonna show up. I've helped you move so many fucking times.
I haven't moved that much, but
I moved
yes.
you all over San Diego. Well, okay, I guess to be fair, I moved you kind of in and out of storage units more.
No more storage
But
unit. Yeah.
yeah, and then but just a lot of the times when I would call around for people to move, it would just be like crickets. You've helped me more than once, but um a lot of times I just ended up moving myself because everybody had excuses. And it's just like, I don't know. Yeah, when I help people move, there's shit I could be doing too, but
Yeah.
people need help, and moving
People need-
sucks.
Yeah. And it's always easier to help someone else move, right? Like, I can move your shit all day long and I'm moving it. You ask, I need to move my stuff. I'm like, this is the worst ever. Why would anyone want to do this?
I'm really bad too when it comes to moving my own stuff, because I'm that type of person that, again, maybe
Go
this is
through
ADHD
everything.
thing, but yeah, I
Yep.
got to pick up everything and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, man, remember this cup?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
okay, cool. That was a great cup. Oh man, check out this thing."
The love of my life, my wife, we've been married 23 years. If we have to move something, I'm like, can you like be in a destination? Because she knows it. It's just, she's difficult to move with. She does. She'll pick everything up. She's like, oh, and she has great memories. It's not like they're bad, or if they are bad, she's still sitting in them. I'm like, honey, can you step to the side? I've got a fucking dresser on my back.
I'm that person in our relationship. Well, I'm also the person with the dresser on my back too.
But
But I'm also, but at the same time,
yes,
I'm like, oh, remember this dresser?
like, yeah, shut up, keep
It's
going.
first dresser. Oh, mannequin chewed on the corner right there.
Yeah, yeah. We have our piano, and it's probably why I haven't gotten rid of it yet. Small upright piano. It was my wife's. It was her grandmother's. I believe it was her grandmother's. So it's 4 generations old at this point. It's got little notches on the edges on both sides, just above the keys, where the kids basically chewed on it when they were little, because kids are kids and they're little mammals and they're biting on it.
On everything, man.
Yeah, and I'm like, I love looking at it. I love that memory just etched into the piano. I don't know whose teeth mark is who, but I know what they are. I know they're from my children, and I know it's because that was the height that they were at, and it was where they could barely get their mouth up, and they would just sit on it because they're animals. They're damn animals.
That's hilarious. I miss our piano. We had to get rid of our piano during one of our moves because we were in an apartment that had a no piano rule because of a former tenant who I guess would practice piano. Like, I suppose it must have been an unreasonable amount, but
whatever.
So we had to, I had to sell my piano. It was cool. I sold it to a music shop for like really cheap, and they turned around and sold it to a kid who was had been doing piano lessons for a few years and was doing really well, but his teacher was like, he needs a piano at home, and his mom couldn't afford like the electrical pianos or a new piano, and the shop just happened to have gotten mine in, so they sold it to him for like $100.
Nice. Yeah, I mean the
it was a
repurposing instruments,
piano.
right?
I mean, it was a really good piano too. It was like, I had gotten it. I had paid $400 for it from one of the tenants at that high-rise condo in La Jolla that I worked at, because she didn't want it in her apartment anymore. But I mean, that whole apartment building is all bougie and people who are very well off, and that piano was a very nice piano, and it was very well tuned. Even after I moved it from her apartment to my apartment, it was still really well tuned. And even after we moved it to that shop that I sold it to, he said he barely had to tune it, and it was
that's right. Yeah, well, good, man. I hope that kid is. I hope that kid's gonna put out an album soon, and he'll be like, "Thanks to this music store for the piano," and then you'll be like, "That's actually my."
I miss it though, dude. I actually, it's funny because I was just reading when I was reading the thing about ADHD earlier, and it was about like how to find your purpose, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And it was saying, what's the last thing you can remember doing where you just completely lost track of time? And for me, that's playing music. And when I had that piano, I played it every day. I would just sit down at it and I would just play, and I would completely lose track of how long I was playing or even what I was playing. Sometimes I would just play. I would just mess around sometimes and just get lost in the keys and jam out a little bit. And I would go outside sometimes and my neighbors would be like, "Hey, you're sounding great over there." And I'm like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know anybody could hear me."
That's rad. Yeah, man, what a great compliment.
But yeah,
what else do you
miss it? And we have keyboards, but it's just,
it's not the same.
The same, man. It just doesn't have that same feel and that pushback on the keys and that.
We had a really great weighted keyboard for a while, for a few years. It was in my son's room. It was all around, and I was reluctant to get rid of it, but it was just sitting there collecting space. And I put it up on like OfferUp or something for like $100. And this was a really nice, like couple $1,000 keyboard. And this kid that came by with his friend, he was stoked out of his mind. And I could see on his face, he was like, "Do you know what you're getting rid of? Yeah, this is a really great keyboard." I'm like, "I absolutely know what I'm getting rid of. But I'm not going to spend the time to list it for the amount that I think it should get and then sit there and barter with people." I'm like, I put it up for the exact reason why you're here. I wanted someone young who was playing either long term, even if you're just going to flip it, man, like make yourself happy. Like you're lugging this thing. It was, a couple 100 pounds. It was a big ass, like gnarly keyboard with a really nice frame. I'm like, take it, man. Like here's the piano bench. Here's the Here's everything. He was stoked. Him and his friend were like, "Oh yeah, this is such a great keyboard." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, okay, take it, go, bye,
Get
get
out of
out
my
of my
house.
driveway." Like I
That's
got
awesome.
an empty space that I can fill with nothing. That would be. Uh, you're saying getting lost in music and just letting hours go by. And if we're to stay on the realm of like self care and uh, what do we do to take care of ourselves? When I was a runner, I was an avid runner for years. One of the many, I guess, careers or whatever that I had that I miss and I want to go back into.
When I
Well,
first met you, you
yeah,
were huge into running. It
yeah.
was your
I was
whole
doing.
whole deal was running.
I was a marathon runner. I was into ultra marathons. I was doing 50 miles a day on the weekend. So Saturday and Sunday were upwards of 50 miles. And it was everything to me. And I paused it at the time. I said it was a pause, but the reality was it was a full stop. It was a literal switch just turned off. I had started working, oddly enough, where we worked together. I won't mention them right now, but
Well, to be totally fair to you, you didn't just totally stop, but you switched to biking because you did bike for a long time too. So I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
but yeah, you weren't running
But I
anymore.
did, you're right. I did bike everywhere and I biked everywhere in San Diego. And I had this really great 1970s Torpedo, which I didn't even know was like this Italian racer bike. And I got for like $20 off of someone I worked for. Turned out the frame was worth like $1,200. I'm like, cool. I just need tires. Like, money is irrelevant most of the time. When it comes to the value of things, it's only what someone will pay is what it's
Yeah,
worth.
the value of the thing to me is what I get out of it.
What
Like
can I get out of it? Yeah. And so,
when I get from here to there in one piece safely, cool.
yeah. But so the value of running to me, I like it. It had no monetary value because it was, and I say it to this day, it was my zen. I could go and I could check out, and I could literally run for hours and just check out,
Of course,
and
outside of
think and revel and I almost never did it. I almost exclusively did it without headphones. I think maybe a couple times, and I'm talking over the span of a decade of running. Maybe only a couple times did I ever have headphones in. I just didn't want to listen to anything except my own, foot patterns and the traffic around me. And I ran up in the Cuyamaca forest, and it was great nature and
that can
hearing.
absolutely count as meditation. Like,
Oh yeah,
meditation is not always just sitting cross-legged on the floor with your eyes closed. There's
yeah,
so many forms of meditation, and you hear a lot of today. You hear a lot about people talking about flow state, and
hmm
it's you're meditating.
hmm
When you're
I
in your flow
yeah.
state, you are in a meditative state.
Even now, like if I just like kind of if I'm just playing outside with the kids and we start running, like man, it only takes me about 4 or 5 strides, and my body just kind of sinks in, and I just start gliding again. I miss it and I love it, and you'll hear me say I miss it so much, but I'm not there yet in my own personal journey to get back out and run, uh, because I don't feel like my body is in enough shape posture wise to run with the ease that I used to.
Well, then work
Um,
on that first, slowly.
well, that's what I'm doing.
I'll
That's what I'm
say
working up towards.
the whole thing with me, I've spent a lot of time working on and when we first met, you know, we were in that school, and so at that we were working on our body. Since then, and especially right after then, I spent a lot of time working on my mind and my spirit, and I let my body fall by the wayside. And I oftentimes gave myself the excuse that, well, I'm focused on something else right now, and I what I'm doing is important. And it's not that it wasn't, but I kept letting my body fall by the wayside. So I'm trying now. I mean, I just started this in the past couple of weeks. I'm trying to put more of a focus now back on my body. Even though my spiritual beliefs say that, my body is basically an illusion, but it's an illusion that is, the expression of what I am in this and whatever this reality is, whatever this existence is. So in that sense, it's real and I want it to be in its healthiest form. And I also think, I think, I don't know who said this. I think maybe one of our teachers might have brought it up once before, but our bodies are a living thing. Our bodies are living whether or not we're consciously telling our body what to do. Our cells are alive. It's alive. It does things for us without us thinking about it. A lot of things that we take for granted, in fact. And so not only is my focus on my body like, to get my health back in check and my posture and everything else, and just to feel healthy and motivated again in a way that I haven't in ages, but also as a way to just kind of like say thank you to my body. Like, hey, man, you're doing some pretty heavy lifting,
Yeah.
figuratively and literally.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We talk about like taking on other people's problems and burdens and your own. That is heavy lifting. That's very heavy lifting. Uh, taking care of yourself has to be the center for very important reasons. I,
Big one of which is you can't really take care of other people if
there it
you're
is.
taking care of yourself.
So my ultimate revelation in that is what I had to endure this past year in needing to facilitate taking care of my mother and my brother and everything. I was not taking care of myself, and I was maxing out every single day. When I was able to really put two and two together and say, well, you're out of energy because you're not supplying yourself with food. You're not supplying yourself with sustenance, and you're just tapped out mentally and emotionally. And that drives your physical being down. When I changed that mental state, when I changed my reality to start taking care of myself, things started to flow. Like the flow state was beginning, and it wasn't just me, it was expanding from me. It was, it felt like it was from within coming out. And it wasn't an immediate response or reaction, but it was changing how I was perceiving the situation and everything around me. And I was starting to understand a lot better the things I was putting myself into, the things that I was helping my mother and my brother get through, the things that I was helping my family back home get into and manage things better. And it's not perfect. I'm not perfect. There is no perfection. There is constant evolution. You're constantly changing to become a better version of yourself. And that includes learning new things. Never stop learning how your body moves, the way that your body moves, why your body moves in the way that it does, what muscles react to what joints, what nutrition is involved with helping those muscles move those joints, and having your mind be put into a place where you are receptive to new information that will help you move forward. Fact check, look into things, understand yourself and how you even absorb knowledge. Don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't allow yourself to be stifled with bad information. It's going to come. You got to let it hit you and go, bounce and flow. Get up and move. Take care of yourself. Breathe, everyone. Breathe. Read more. Listen more. Perceive more. Respond, not react. Take care of each other. I love you.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all so much for listening. If you'd like to help build this channel and community, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing.
All that stuff goes a real long way. You can also check out our Patreon. And of course, drop us a comment with your thoughts and ideas of where we can go from here.